The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by this podcast, as well as its hosts, are for entertainment purposes only. The viewpoints expressed, although based on very real topics, are not to be taken as fact. With that being said, enjoy the show.
Hello, world. Welcome to Pardon the Politics podcast. We back. I'm back. Really? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello, world. Welcome to Pardon the Politics podcast. We back. I'm back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Really? Pardon the Politics podcast. Hello, world. Welcome to Pardon the Politics podcast, season 3, episode 26. Along for the ride, I have my brother Manny with me. Manny, how you doing?
What's good? Doing well.
Good, brother. We got also with us for another edition of Pardon the Politics, none other than the chairman of Chaos himself, brother Chuck. How you doing?
Really?
Hey.
Bruh, I am dog tired. Listen, I might have to renounce this active present fatherhood thing. I'm dog tired, bro.
Hey, bro.
I ain't gonna renounce it, but golly, man.
Family be having you out here running.
Listen, between the free Uber service during the week, this to that, this past weekend, I took my family to a water park. You know, adding another memory, another layer. My kids are older, so you know I have to be very strategic in the activities that we do to really evoke some emotion. They'll be like, you know, I miss the days, and I get a little envious of you guys where the simple things you make them excited.
Yep. You got to be extravagant now at that age.
Bruh, I gotta do something that hits my pockets. But nah, man. Besides that, it's a good time. I had a good time. Enjoyed that family time. But yeah, man, we here ready to rock and roll.
Hey, man, you gotta pay to play, man. You gotta put those memories in, man. To do what you gotta do when you're ready to do what you want to do.
Will Ric Flair say, to be the man?
Yes,
you
sir.
Gotta beat the man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, to our listeners, I myself am your co-host Jeezy, along with my two other brothers, and yeah, man, we're here for another episode. So we appreciate you tuning back in. If this is your first time, we welcome you once, we welcome you twice, we welcome you 3 times in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Thank you,
man.
And before we get into our topics, this will be the last episode of the month. So we want to say in this final episode, before we begin, Happy Pride Month to our president, President Donald J. Trump. Happy Pride Month, President.
Happy Pride Month, President.
I want to make sure that we tell you a Happy Pride Month, because I was not aware that you observe the holiday of the month. So, but apparently with the love and affection you have for Barack Hussein Obama, have you ever heard of him? I'm going to assume that you observe this month. So we want to tell you Happy Pride Month, President Trump. So
that's the only explanation for you to talk about him as much as you do in the most out of left field moments, to Obama noticing it on a podcast this past week that released, talked about it and was like, you know, for some reason I'm living in that guy's head, but he doesn't act like that when we face to face, to the most random picture posting.
Bro,
it don't make any sense.
Not just picture posting, side by side.
Why do you have a picture of that man in your phone?
And then took time, and that probably wasn't his first picture option. He probably cycled through several picture options.
He had to be specific, because if you search Barack Obama, that photo that he posted is not going to be the first one that pops up.
No,
you got years of presidential photos that's going to pop up. And quite honestly, has he ever posted a picture of his kids? Besides Ivanka, the creep,
bro. Yep. Not that I know of.
No,
but maybe he picked that picture because he felt when he put that picture side by side, that was the cutest picture that he could find of Barack Obama. And he said, "This is we look good. We look like two baddies together." And he looked good. I look good. We look good together, baby. Because he posted it with no words, no explanation. He didn't say anything. It's just look at me and look at him. Don't we look good together?
Yeah.
I had to type Barack Hussein Obama, 18 years old. And he still is, that picture he used is still not the first one. It is the 8th photo option.
That's crazy.
What time did he
went
post
searching
side by side?
Probably during time he should have been sleeping.
Right. Even more of what Obama said. Why am I living rent free? Why do I have a suite in your head that you think about me so
presidential suite?
I mean, bro, yes, not just any suite, full out mini bar, panorama view.
It's been almost 10 years since Obama was president. Still thinking about him like this man just left the office.
And
but that also might be the dementia kicking in, and he don't forgot 2020 on, and he just cycles back and says, "Oh yeah, he was the president before me."
Dementia Donnie, bro. It could be. It's just crazy. And on that podcast, Obama made a great point that when you're the president, there's so much that you are responsible for. There's 10 to 15 different things. I mean, briefings, everything just getting thrown at you. You have no time to worry about what somebody else is saying. And I love it because Obama said, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing,
right. if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing,
you ain't got time to worry about somebody. And it's crazy because Obama's done. Like, you didn't have to. Now I can see if he, I ain't gonna say I see, because I still think that him even bringing up Joe Biden is just stupid. Joe's gone. He's done his terms. He's out of here. Same with Obama. He's out of here. Why do you keep referring? The only thing that I can attribute it to is, instead of being held accountable for your own actions, you just throw out this fancy little, let me throw this card out here because I know it has a bad taste in some people's mouth. Bro, that's not working. It's not working anymore.
I think he's just mad he ain't been invited to the presidential group chat. And he knows there's one.
Because they always hanging out. The ones that's still alive were hanging out this past week or so.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You saw how George was acting. The one Republican is up there. George
every time.
George I'm right at home, bro.
Every time.
Anytime you get George Bush anywhere in the vicinity of Michelle Obama, that man starts showing
every
all
time.
32.
Right. Showing every
and
I don't know if he still got 32, but
I don't know he got 32.
Well,
he might have got 27 and a couple of replacements.
It's impossibles.
If it's a crown, do you count it as? But bro, I mean, when you saw them at the Obama thing, and we'll move on shortly, but it's crazy because even if you look at the presidential group chat and even just the wives, right? Like Hillary is has a connection with him. George's wife, she was talking to Obama.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. I don't know about that Hillary connection with them. Hillary a different monster.
Hillary don't like Barack. Barack don't like Hillary. I think they are.
They're cordial in public spaces.
Yeah. You're right.
I don't know about that connection because I truly believe Michelle Robinson, and this is not to be disrespectful, this is to take it to the core. Michelle Robinson want to put her hands on Hillary Rodham.
Oh yeah.
But Michelle Obama allows Michelle Robinson to say, when they go low, I'm gonna go high.
Yeah.
But even Michelle said, we ain't gotta stay high anymore. We can go low if necessary.
That's that Robinson.
Yes, sir.
Robinson in her.
Yes, sir. But you can even see when they're all together, Trump wouldn't fit in the group, bro.
Oh no.
I'm gonna tell you who
and
wished
Melania
was in the
wouldn't
group.
either.
But she wish she was though.
Oh, she does.
She just want a friend.
She wants somebody to just, girl, where you get your bag from? Where you get that bag from? Like her and Michelle could have a good time talking about shoes.
Yep. Melania just wants somebody to love, bro. She's like, look.
And I low-key kind of I kind of feel bad for her because, like, at least Trump has ostracized himself from the other presidents.
Oh, yeah.
Melania is so, like, Trump is choosing not to have a relationship with them. Michelle just got, not Michelle, Melania just got taken for the ride. Like, wait a second. They the only ones who understand what it's like to be the first lady. Can I talk to them? Nope.
Bruh. Poor Melania, bro. Poor Melania. Well, no, you made that choice.
Degree.
Yeah,
that's like only to a certain degree. You signed up for that
choice. You made that choice. But at any rate, happy Pride Month, Donnie T. They only come around once a year, and even though we just observe it on June, man, enjoy your Pride the rest of the 11 months, brother. You love Obama, that's okay. Just come out and say it, bro.
Just say it, man.
I love the man. I just love him. I love him more than you ever know. It's for sure.
It's for sure.
All right, well, for our first segment, but we got another person that I think Trump might love, and that's going to New York, in New York City, because he has a little bit of a Obama feel for Mamdani, if you ever notice. He's a great looking guy. He's good man.
You make a very valid point, because before Mamdani got elected, he talked a lot of trash about that man.
Yep.
And that man got into the Oval Office.
He came in there
cheesing.
He came in there with that cologne on it. Donnie said, "What's that you got on?"
Drawing hearts around his picture.
Well, in New York, Mamdani, man, did something I think that was pretty impressive and has been talked about quite a bit in the headlines. Mamdani seemed to have been flexing his political muscles this past week. So in New York, there were some primaries that were held, I believe, this past Tuesday. And Mamdani did some endorsing. I believe this is his first round of endorsements given now as the mayor of New York City. And he endorsed 3 candidates. And these 3 candidates weren't establishment Democrats at all. They were closely aligned with the progressive wing, and several had ties to the Democratic Socialist movement. And all 3 won. So the message from the progressive voters were very simple, that they want candidates focused on affordability, housing, healthcare, and economic inequality, is not necessarily traditional Democratic leadership. So with the victories that we saw in that political muscle that Mamdani flexed during the primaries, man, I want to ask you this. Is this just a New York story that we're seeing, or are we watching the next generation of Democratic leadership take over nationally?
Maybe.
Hold on. Here go Manny starting this week again with these one-word answers.
Maybe. I think, again, 20 for me. Looking on through the rest of the year, the question that I'm seeking to find the answer for is, how are Democrats going to screw this up? Because they've been handed everything on a platter. How are they going to screw this up?
Everything.
And New York is not a case of them screwing it up, but it could be. It could be the start of it. Again, we've said on this pod countless times that New York is not North Carolina, is not Florida, it's not California. Mm-hmm. So every state has its flavor. And it'll be interesting. Obviously, in the veins of New York politics, I think you're seeing 2 things collide at once. I think it's people are getting fed up with incumbents doing nothing, or just blatantly just not listening. And then you have this undercurrent of the Democratic Socialist movement. And I don't know which one, you can really tie this to, whether these 3 incumbents getting tossed are a fact that, hey, these incumbents haven't done anything. We need some people who are actually going to do anything. I'm now turning to somebody new, or as we are tired of the beliefs and the setup of the current Democratic Party, we want to move more left in our politics. And the decision point from there is going to be very key, because I think other states are undoubtedly watching this. And I think the reaction around that is going to be key, because if you look at why, Democrats lost the presidency, if you look at why Democrats are also losing in other places, it's because the Democratic Party has always been like this hodgepodge of a coalition of your working class voters and really left-wing politicians. What we saw, I think, nationally in the last national election is them lose the working class voters. So if you look at New York and say, hey, New York is a model of where the party is going, your interpretation right behind that, is it just, hey, we're tired of incumbents, we need someone new who's actually just going to bring fresh ideas here, or we're actually going to move further left? Because if the decision is, hey, we're going to move further left, then I think we have a problem. Because ultimately, New York, we kind of know all these incumbents will win just based on how districts are drawn and the reality of it. The real question for these districts heading into the midterms later this year is how much these now nominees win by. Because if all of these people aren't winning in like the high 50s to 60s, but are like getting out 52%, 53%, then it could be a very long night for Dems heading into the midterms. So maybe.
Okay.
I mean,
Brother
your one word response was sound. However, I want to go to a foundational point that this podcast has said from the very beginning. Your political approach is not a blanket answer. What you see in New York is not going to work in North Carolina. It's not going to work in Nevada. It's not going to work in Arizona. Now, the reason that Mamdani has had such a strong impact, first and foremost, you got to understand, Eric Adams opened the door,
bruh,
from Mamdani. Eric
I don't know
Adams,
if he opened the door. He might have just tore the door off the hinges and just let it.
Okay, you're right. Cuomo opened the door.
Yep.
From Mamdani.
Yep.
Eric Adams unscrewed
the hinges,
and let it fall off.
Yep.
Because everything and that ushered from the messaging of Mamdani to come in and be resonating to the people. But what really set the precedent or really gave the impact is his actions afterwards. He talked about doing so many things, and he's done so many things.
Right.
Josh, the comedian Josh Johnson, I was watching one of his interviews, and he's like, Mamdani just found the button that said, "Oh, make government work," and he just pressed it.
Listen, this man from filling potholes that people have complained about for ages, and I'm talking about in a short period of time.
Yeah.
To the point, I know y'all seen the videos of other countries like China, Japan, somewhere else where they've done construction jobs in 24 hours that would take 3 months here. That's what essentially what he's doing in New York.
Yep.
Like that first weekend or so with him being in office, and if I'm not mistaken, and if the number's not right, go look it up yourself. There was like 9,000 potholes that got filled and fixed throughout New York that many people had complained about and put in petitions for years.
Yeah.
That, as simple as that is, if you've ever driven through New York and hit one of them potholes, forget driving in New York. If you ever drove anywhere and hit one of the potholes, and
tear your car alignment
up, praying that your suspension ain't
your CV joint is sitting in your trunk. You hit one of the potholes.
Listen, so when you have that type of impact, regardless if it's a socialist message, the work that is being done after the messaging, because for so many years we've had politicians promise us the world. It hasn't even given us a globe. You got this man coming in and saying, I'm going to make things work. I'm going to make things right. And we're going to fix this, that, and the third, giving daycare. Most recently, and I want to say 2 days ago, he put a rent freeze for 1 million residents of New York.
Yep.
Do you know how impactful that is to those people? Do you know these people, what that will do for people to want to get out and support whoever he puts his name behind?
Right.
Because if he puts his name behind it and whatever they're saying, I'm going to believe that they're going to go out here to do everything they can in their power to make happen whatever they say is going to happen.
Bruh. So it's a winning formula. It's a winning formula.
Easy.
And it's an easy formula. Man, I was seeing the videos of him going like with the rent freeze that you brought up, Chuck. Like he's not just simply doing, he's going in these tenants, residents, and he's like, okay, what is not happening? Oh, I put this complaint in, look at this. This isn't working. We don't have this. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna do something about it. And then a couple of days later, the freeze
something's done about it.
Like, yes, he's all he's doing is saying, this is what I said I'm gonna do, and what people are elected to do. He's actually doing his job.
Because I was just about to say, do your job.
That's all he's doing your job.
We're not asking you to create a new world. We're not asking you to go to Mars and mine helium or the moon. and here on Earth,
just do your job, right?
And that's why I say, contrary to a point that we've said even today, but in the past, the piece that they can take from New York is do your job, be seen, let people get to you.
Here's why I started with what I started with, because although it's not a blanket approach, the ones who are in power now, who's giving the messaging, haven't been doing their job. So you can't take. Listen, he's been in power. Listen, the APAC Poppy has been. APAC Poppy, and it pisses me off because I'm gonna shout them out later. But he has Cape Verdean descent, and I want to give love to Cabo Verde. But anyway, Hakeem and the likes of the Chuck Schumers and the likes of those individuals. I don't want to hear what you have to say about the Democratic Party and where things are headed, and you have years and years of open words.
Well, I think that's a beautiful point that you bring up, because I want to play this clip of, and we've already dropped his name, so I want to go ahead and do that with APAC Poppy. But they asked Hakeem Jeffries what he thought with the victory and the wins that he saw take place in New York City, which, if I'm not mistaken, he's a representative from New York City, correct? So
yes, and some of those folks that lost, he was backing,
and I think that's the big thing. And maybe he's a little salty because the people that he endorsed,
ain't no maybe. you know good and well, ain't no maybe.
It ain't no maybe at all. But this is what he said when he was asked earlier. I think it was like the next day after the results.
Is Mamdani making enemies on Capitol Hill by endorsing against incumbents right now?
Listen, the mayor and I agreed to strongly disagree about some of his endorsements, and he's got work to do in terms of the conversations that he's going to have with members of Congress moving forward.
What's your relationship with the mayor as it stands?
It's a very good one. We speak regularly.
Do you think Democratic voters want Democrats in Congress to be more progressive?
I think you got to look at the totality of all 215 members of the House Democratic Caucus, and that answer speaks for itself.
Now I want to say something here.
Please do, brother.
First of all, Mamdani better than me. Because first of all, what you mean I gotta work and do something to prove to y'all, and y'all are sitting up there on the Capitol and ain't doing nothing. You need to get to work.
Listen, where's the ether beat?
Bro, you need to fire that up on him expeditiously.
Yes, sir.
I don't have to come to Congress. What do you mean I got to come to Congress and prove it, answer it? No, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm trying my best to better the lives of those that are residents within New York City. I don't got to come and prove nothing to y'all as long as I'm proving to the people.
Well, no, that's the difference. If you look within the same party, Hakeem Jeffries versus AOC.
Yeah.
You look at what they're able to get done. They are both functionally not actually getting stuff done. Like we just look at the reality of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In AOC, you have someone that's on the ground that is fighting. That is appearing to do something.
But and you know, and I'm glad you brought her up because not only is she fighting, all of it is fighting for her constituents, but not only is she fighting the opposition, she's fighting those within her same party.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and when you look at, that's a great point, Chuck. And when you look at what Hakeem said, I think it's a very interesting thing. And I think it kind of points back to what we've said numerous times on this podcast of how Democrats always find a way to fluff it up. Because instead of celebrating the win together, you got Democrats immediately beginning to argue over what these wins mean. So you got the progressive wing that's saying, this proves that voters want bold progressive policies. But then you got these moderates that are saying, well, wait a minute, slow down. And you have this Democratic leader and Democratic leaders arguing that, okay, New York's just unique. That was a jab that Hakeem did. When you look at the 215, I think it speaks for itself what the party want. But how do you know what the party want? Because if you knew what the party want, you'd be getting action and getting results, and you clearly not getting none. So,
but you know what trips me out? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I'll say what trips me out is they're calling this progressive. What is progressive about getting the job done?
What is progressive about potholes?
Keeping your promises?
Bruh, I told y'all I was gonna fill potholes. I fill potholes, and I'm progressive. I brought in where we got child care reasonable for people to afford.
Hold on, not just people to afford. Working individuals.
We got people that are living in spaces that aren't up to code, that aren't livable, and I'm doing something about it by holding the landlords accountable, and that's progressive. Like
I'm freezing rent on them continuously going up on the cost of rent in a city that is already stupid high, but pay is not going up at the same rate, and I help reduce the cost of childcare because pay is not going up at the same rate, but childcare is going up, and childcare is going up because the cost of everything that comes associated with providing childcare is going up because the rent for the facility is going up.
Yep,
that's not progressive.
It's not progressive at all, bro. Like this tag of throwing progressive on things is getting out of hand. It's not progressive unless you're insured by progressive, and that's two totally different things. But this is not progressive.
Where is Flo?
We need Flo to come straighten all this out because we need the real progressive to stand up. Like the real Sam Shady. Can the real progressive please stand up? Flo, we need you. We need you to go to Washington to get this ironed out.
Immediately.
But this exposes the biggest divide inside the Democratic Party today. Do you energize your base or do you appeal to the middle? So, Chuck, I'm going to ask you this. Can Democrats actually be both a progressive party in cities like New York and a moderate party everywhere else?
Yes. Dang it, I followed Manny's approach. Yes, it can, because most importantly, yes, New York is unique.
Yes.
It's very unique. But here's the thing. There's no one size fits all approach on any end, Democrat or Republican.
Yep.
Right.
But what the Republicans have seemed to master is on the grand scale, they've unified under an umbrella.
Yep.
But outside of that umbrella, they do their own individual things. And there's some pushback, but I see your apprehension on that statement. But listen to this, Manny. Although all Republicans may not say they're MAGA, in the grand scheme of pushing GOP forward, they're gonna get in line to push GOP forward.
Yep.
The Dems will fight tooth and nail between moderate and progressive and allow the fracture and allow the GOP to step in and get what they want on the GOP's agenda.
You're right. You're right. And I flash back into my mind because this is the cycle, history keeps repeating itself until you learn its lesson.
Yep.
Where I see the Democrats at right now is the same place the Republican Party was right after Obama got elected, where you had the whole Tea Party movement. And you had all the and you still have it on the Republican side. Yeah. You still have the rhinos, the fiscal conservatives. What Trump was somehow able to do in his most Trump fashion is galvanize all those people behind a why. Now that why was, racism and
it's a nasty why.
It's a nasty why.
Yeah,
but they came together.
But they all came together behind it. They're like, okay, well, if that's a message, I can find my carve out over here, and I can find my carve out over here, and that's really what you said on your second part. Is like there are carve outs for everybody. Yeah. But what's so crazy is that internally in Republican politics, that's one of the things that Republican operatives said that Democrats did very well in the Obama years is they were all aligned under a why and they found their subsegment. It's like without that big leadership to project that, everyone is fighting for who is going to lead.
Oh, and I just got it, Manny. I just got it.
And now
there's no catchphrase. Okay. There's no catchphrase.
There's none.
For Obama, it was yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Under Trump, it's make America great again.
Yep.
What's the next catchphrase?
And if you have that why, everything else under that becomes easier to figure out. If you have the why, you can drive what the what needs to be.
Because it looks different for each and every subset of every people. So that yes, we can. Looks different for a ton of people, but the message is clear. Just would make America great again. Now, you can argue there's a part of that does not resonate with certain people, but for the vast majority, they can say, okay, well, what does that mean to you? And then that allows you to go home. And if you're in New York, if you're in North Carolina, if you're in Texas, if you're in Nevada, that looks like something to somebody that they can get behind, and it gets everybody under that umbrella. So even though you may be under the umbrella for a different reason, you still resonate with us being under the umbrella in the first place, and you have your position.
And
the thing I don't understand with the Democrats is why don't they understand that?
Well, I think it's multi-tiered here because again, when I say Republicans galvanize behind the why, behind the Make America Great Again, behind the racism, is because that was a group of people that was not coming out to vote, that was not engaged. And those messages got them engaged so they could do the what. Yeah. Who is that gap of people that the Democrats are looking at bringing out to participate that have not been active? And I think that's where you get more of this separation is a divide. I think you have the Bernie Sanders, the AOCs, the Mamdanis, who are really like, hey, that group of people we need to drive out are these more left views. Versus the centrist standpoint. So I think they're trying to cater to this group on the left to really bring them out. Now, the question is, how big is that group? And I can almost guarantee that group is not as big as the group that you had on the MAGA side. So even numerically, I think it's still going to be a problem for the Democrats, and they're going to have to try to figure out how they put together that coalition.
To that point, Manny, and I love that you said that because it turned on a different light for me. I think you're 1,000% correct. And what is that group and what those numbers look like? And to our earlier point about just getting the job done, is not so much progressive. It is progressive because for so many years they didn't get the job done. It was a bunch of lip service. And so what the Dems face now is not so much getting a missing segment as it is sustaining these numbers of high turnout and turning those who were teetering.
Yep.
Because that's where the large segment is. Those who were teetering and kind of leaned to the right, but with the right amount of whatever, getting the job done, the right messaging can lean them back left to your side to pull them over. Because yes, the messaging of Make America Great Again and the root cause of it, there was different aspects that they peeled off. Many people, they want to immigration. Their immigration approach and their immigration messaging was two different tiers. The immigration approach was highly racist, super racist. I don't care who you are. I'll argue you all day and all night. Angels watching over me, my Lord. Super racist. But their messaging of protecting our borders and keeping our citizens safe, who can argue against that? It's hard. It's hard to argue against. I want to keep our country safe. I want to protect our borders and not allow the miscreants in, and we just can't have an open border. From a pure just looking at it, it's a hard case to argue against.
Just reading the words for what those individual words mean.
Yes.
Super hard.
Super hard. However, when we look at the actions and the steps that we're taking after that messaging, we see the root nature of racism in it. So now with the Democrats and what Mamdani has done is, and Jeezy, you brought it up, and it's so simple, but it's so effective. I'm going to get these potholes filled. And within the first week, I got these potholes filled. Trump said he was going to get us out of all the wars within the first whatever amount of time, 24 hours.
24 hours.
Here we are a year and a half later.
and new conflicts among.
I'm about to say, not only did he not get us out the wars, he got us in new ones.
Yes. So in this part, and see, here we go, about to give somebody game.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is you need to steer your messaging. We're looking to get the job done. These are the, I don't care how minute and minuscule it may seem. Like, I think their wrong approach that they're going is, and Manny has said this is not going to happen in a short period of time, trying to reverse all of the bad that has happened in the Trump administration. You gotta chop that big tree down one swing at a time. But there's little things that you can do to clean up around that tree to get your work started. And that's where they need to focus on. And that's what has made Mamdani so powerful and impactful to New York. So if you want to take this and spread it around, you have to redress your messaging.
Yep.
Democrats have always been in this weird, and like I said earlier, this weird contract negotiation of what is the Democratic Party. They are going to have to figure out what that new contract is going to be internally between its multiracial progressive base and white working class voters. Because numerically, you do not win any elections here in America without the white working class voters. Whoever gets that subset wins. And you have to figure out how to get that. But then you also have to figure out how to get that in your state, in your district. Republicans still have to do the same, because now you see their coalitions starting to fall apart because Trump is crazy. And they're like, how do I maintain our balance with our fiscal conservatives and the far right? Like, what does that look like? Because there is a very large subset of people like myself who are just fiscally conservative. Socially, you do we're with a lot of the other things. How do you find that balance?
Newsflash, y'all. Manny and myself are more closely aligned than y'all would realize on the fiscal side of things. Yeah, like, there was Manny, wasn't that a survey that you shared with us? And like the results, yours and mine, were like not far off at all.
Yep.
But I'm an independent.
Yeah. So it's finding that balance, and both parties are going to have to deal with this as it keeps changing. The problem is both parties refused to change for so long. They got forced to do it.
Yeah.
Republicans were forced to confront it during the Tea Party movement. Democrats are now being forced to confront that now. And it makes it harder to confront that when you don't have leadership. The Democrats have no one that is going to lead that
Nobody.
party. They have no galvanizing force. Like, and not even like regionally. Not like, oh, this person is hot in the South. Like, you don't have that. And
you have a couple of potential nominees, but I don't think those individuals want to step up for that task.
It's a hell of a task. It is a hell of a task. Yeah. And then I think the people who want to step up for the task, we don't really want.
We don't.
You ain't got it. You ain't got it,
like,
player.
Gavin Newsom. I think he wants to do it, but I'm just like, you're not going to be the guy. That's not your room. Now, do I think there's a good chance he ends up being the nominee because he is the Democratic version of Trump? Yes. And I say Democratic version of Trump.
Oh no, you're 1,000.
No, the memes, the names,
1,000%.
Yeah.
I think 100%.
And his actions behind his words.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I'm not a Gavin Newsom fan. Newsflash.
So I think it ends up being Gavin Newsom, and I think that'll be fun for us to do after the midterms. Who our way too early picks are on the national scene.
I got mine depending on who becomes governor of Georgia.
This is going to be exciting.
So I think they have to figure out. I think the Democrats have to figure out who leads them and who is able to unite those two arms together. Trump was able to do that in 2016 by being the businessman that was able to get the fiscal conservatives asterisk because. Like a lot of people said, he's not been. Yeah, very few things have been fiscal or conservative. Right,
neither.
But then getting that far right fringe involved, who is going to be the person that galvanizes it?
Well, I think when you look at, and you mentioned Trump, with what's going on in the infighting that you have with the Democratic Party, certainly would have liked for them to, before they figure it out. I would much rather you stop insulting and throwing jabs before you figure out how we're going to define the party, because in that moment, of course, Donnie T is going to seize the moment.
Oh,
and he ain't going to waste no time. So Donnie T has framed these victories as proof that Democrats are becoming a socialist party. And his strategy is obvious. Instead of running against individual Democrats, what he's trying to do now is that he's trying to make every Democrat answer for the most progressive voices in the party. Republicans believe if voters associate Democrats with democratic socialism, it becomes much easier to win, especially in suburban districts. Now, whether that's, you can argue whether that's fair or not, but or that politically it really doesn't matter. But I think at the end of the day, it's an effective campaign message, because now every Democrat candidate may have to answer the question, do you support this movement? So, Manny, I'm going to ask you, is Trump successfully defining Democrats before Democrats can even define themselves?
Yes. This is a strategy that everyone uses. So in 2018, when I ran, everyone asked, well, how do you feel about Trump? I had to answer to Trump.
Yeah.
I had to answer the Trump question every single time. And it was the same answer no matter who I talked to, that neither won me votes nor won me votes. That's right. To the Republicans, like, oh, you're not backing Trump enough. Oh, well, you're still a Republican. Oh, so I did not win votes, nor did I win votes. But it is the strategy. You always have to answer to the worst of the representation of you. How much do we see this as African Americans having to be answer to the worst of what people do?
Woo. Preach, brother, preach.
Every time. It is a strategy that works in multi-facets, not just in politics. Oh, how do I make you try to look bad or get you in an awkward position? So yes, he's absolutely doing this. B, Democrats should have known that he was going to do this and have prepared their candidates, and their leadership should have prepared their candidates for this. Walking into that election in 2018, that is the one thing my team and I worked on a lot of, is how to handle the Trump question. Mm-hmm. Now, some of them was like, we should probably find a better way to handle that. And I'm like, nah, this is how I'm going to handle it. And they're like, okay. And I said, okay. And, could there have been a possibly better way to handle it? I mean, probably, but, but you still have to prep. If you have a leader leading your organization, and I'm not just talking about from the White House, I'm talking about through Congress all the way down to your county chairs and your precinct chairs who are working with these people who are running for commissioner, who are running for state representative to governor. If they are not prepping you to be ready for this question, then you fumble like they did. So yes, and this is always the plan. You see that same thing happening in Texas with Tellerico. Hey, they were already prepared for, answer to this. It is about preparation. This is just poor political leadership if your people are not ready for a response to this. Because I would have looked at New York if I was in charge of the Democratic Party, and I would have already been prepared with counter messaging because you knew what the Republican response was going to be, and vice versa, no matter what the state. If you're on James Tellerico's team, you should have known that you were going to get asked those questions. You should be very well versed. You go back to, so let's go to Florida and Byron Donaldson. Also not looking prepared to answer the question. Yep. This comes down to preparation. Are you prepared for what is going to be the easiest question that is going to be asked at some point? And most candidates are not. And that's why you see them fumbling so quickly. So instead of trying to capitalize off of momentum, you're answering stupid questions.
Or giving stupid answers to simple questions.
Right.
What was that thing that we heard so much? The 6 Ps, I believe it was.
Proper preparation prevents a piss poor performance.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. and Manny, you the leadership aspect and point that you made is top tier. Why is governor, the mayor of New York City, the most prominent Democratic figure in the country at this present date? And those who are the most senior in the Democratic Party are the ones trying to speak up, but there's no bite to that bark. Damn, you got a problem.
I've
also in your own house.
And being completely fair, it is a whole lot easier to please constituents at the ground level, at the mayor level, at the town council level, because you're able to do things quickly.
But Manny,
so it is easier, but you are still spot on. Like, why is this the only person?
But
where's
that's
the hole in your pipeline that hasn't produced someone who can do this at a national level?
But Mamdani is not trying to he's not trying to speak on a national level. He's even said, I don't have aspirations to go outside of my city. Yep. So, I mean, we can hold that with a bucket of water with holes in it if we want to, because we've all seen that happen before.
We've heard that before.
but even in the nature of it, like, he's not. It would be one thing if he was doing these things and he was trying to pop up everywhere and be seen everywhere. No, these people are running to him and putting cameras and microphones in his face You know, anytime you see him being interviewed or being talked to, I can say anytime, but majority of the time, it's in the streets of New York. So
this man is like Jadakiss. He's like, I be on the block. I be on the block.
We don't even have anything or very minimum video of him even in his office. Like every time he's doing something, he's never in the office. He's in the streets working.
I saw a video of him. They were opening up New York City pools for the summer, and he was jumping into the pool in the suit. Yep. And I see this, and I'm just like, this is just top tier PR.
Top tier.
You're jumping. Oh, you're opening. Oh, you're going to jump. Oh, you're in your suit. That's great imagery. What?
Yeah. Wow.
Politics really don't be as hard as
it's not. It's not.
Like and to separate, you have the politics, which is campaigning. Then you have the policy. Now the policy is hard.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
That's hard. But the politics, the campaign, this ain't that hard.
It's just like how we are, bro. You just got to be president active, bro.
That's half the game.
It.
That's half the game. President active. That's all you got to do.
G.I. Joe told us, knowing is half the battle. The other half is red lasers and blue lasers. But knowing is half that battle.
That's it, man. That's it. You know, and people can connect with you when they feel like, okay, you're saying one thing and I actually see you doing something. It's not a hard formula. It's not a difficult recipe. It to me is generally just what an outstanding person with great morals and values does, is that if I say something, I'm going to do what I said I was going to do and try my hardest. And if I can't, that policy perspective is a little more easier to digest because you can't do that necessarily on your own. You know, you have to rely on certain aspects of the other party on the other side of the aisle to help you to get some of those things done. But seeing you doing the work and trying to get there, coupled with you being president active, is just a recipe that works. And I don't understand why it's that difficult and why would they have to make politics that hard.
People don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Yep.
I remember, again, back when I was running, it was early elections. I was out at the town of Cary and talking to this guy. He said, "Oh, you're a Republican?" He's like, "I got some words for you." And I'm like, "Well, let's hear it." Y'all, this man yelled at me for 30 minutes. And I just stood with him and I just walked down the line with him and listened to everything he said. And I said some things back and he was like, "That makes sense." But then by the time we got to that line, he said, "You know what? I'm going to vote for you." And I'm like, "Well, thank you, sir. I'm happy that I earned your support." Then what also happened was the 5 people behind him was like, "You handled that amazingly. I'm also going to vote for you." And I was like, "I appreciate those 5. I appreciate those 6 votes." But none of that happens unless you take the time to listen to the people.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Did I do anything for that person right now at that moment? No. The only thing I did for them is let them get some things off their chest to someone he felt as though was going to have the ability to do something about it.
Yep.
As a leader, as someone who aspires for political leadership, you have a responsibility to the people, whether they agree with you or they disagree with you. And you don't even know whether they agree or disagree with you until you're there with them.
Yeah.
Yep.
You gotta be there. That's the entry part. Everyone thinks about, going to DC, going to these fundraisers and stuff. No, just show up to the community event. Yeah. Shake some hands, kiss some babies, talk to people, touch grass. Touch grass.
I hate that phrase.
Get a grip on reality.
Bruh,
Get a grip on reality.
Hey, Manny, what was more agonizing, that 30 minutes with him or that time with Jeezy Dad?
Oh, man.
My dad, probably.
It was his dad. Because it was
slapping that the
it
coins
was
at your
hand, the coins.
Bruh.
And I was just like, and the problem was it was funny too.
Yes.
In my head, I was able to also disassociate long enough to appreciate the comedy of it all.
Pure comedy.
But it was definitely Jeezy's dad, man.
Bruh.
Pure comedy. Oh my God. Oh,
well,
hold on, real quick.
Go ahead. I'm sorry,
quick.
brother.
I'm sorry. Hey, Jeezy, Manny, how close is your cap?
Oh boy.
You know, I keep that thing on me.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
I thought we weren't gonna make it.
Never would have made it without you.
Yes, sir.
Could the Knicks winning the NBA championship have been a political play?
I'm intrigued. Speak more on this. I'm intrigued. I'm here for this.
So, not necessarily an upset, but early on, it was an upset that Mamdani would even win the nomination because he was going against the former New York governor, Cuomo, and who had a lot of political cachet in the state of New York and the city of New York. And then when he beat Cuomo, going up against Eric Adams, who is the current, the incumbent Republican who not only has some mess with him.
Yeah.
But they still, they still let him run around the city doing what he wanted to do. And then Cuomo says, no, I'm going to run as an independent still after losing the Democratic nomination. So Mamdani, then Adams gets the phone call to back away. And after mud stomping Cuomo in the Democratic race, it was a foregone conclusion what was going to happen at that point. And understand this is by no means a discredit to what this man has done for the city of New York so far. And it's all theory. Conjecture if you want, if you may. He's a big New York Knicks fan.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done a lot for the city up until this point. And, many people say that the scripts for major American sports leagues are pre-written.
Mm-hmm.
What further cements and solidifies the city of New York mayor's voice in these streets but for the beloved team of the city? You have the Mets have won World Series. The Yankees have won their World Series and have their dynasties. Been a while, but they've had them. The Rangers have won the Stanley Cup in the time frame. I think once, at least twice since the last time the Knicks won the championship. I know Messier won it once. If that's the last one,
yeah, 93.
Yeah. See, I know hockey, y'all. But anyway. But none of that has been as impactful for a city as the New York Knicks winning the NBA championship. I don't know if y'all heard, but the report that crime had been down during the Knicks playoff run, especially once they hit those 2 series sweeps, crime had been down. Even to the point, yes, we saw the vagrant activity of beating up the Spurs fans after the Knicks lost. A little lack of emotional intelligence there by some individuals.
But for the most part, crime had been drastically down in the city to the point that I've had New Yorkers tell me that people were going around saying good morning and speaking to each other during the Knicks playoff run.
Oh man!
And if you know anything about to get a good morning in New York, is
a good morning and hello and how you doing?
You must be a tourist,
bruh.
Exactly. But here we are. And as we talk about his political cachet and his national notoriety, at the parade, there was only a handful of individuals who spoke. And who was one of those individuals? Mamdani.
And just to add, brother, he spoke longer than anybody.
Anybody.
The owner, the players, everybody. And the message felt quite presidential.
Brother, you stepping on my work. But yes, his speech was revered as one of the best parade speeches that anyone has ever given. Like I said, this may be a bit of conjecture, but if you in the script reading, add this to the script.
Might be a good one. Might be a good one.
Based on True Story TV.
Right.
I'm just
maybe
saying.
something to it, brother. Maybe something to it. We gotta keep our eye open and keep our tinfoil hat close by.
That's
keep
what it's for.
that thing on you.
That's what it's for.
Well, we might have to send a tinfoil hat to DC because I think somebody else might be needing one, and that might be Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson,
Mike is
Mike feeling a little pitiful, man, and he may be saying there's something going on behind the scenes because he's worried.
Something is afoot.
Is afoot, brother. Want to play a clip that he spoke at I believe it was a event for donors this past week after what results happened in New York, and Mike seems to be a little uneasy, brother.
If we were to lose the midterms, heaven forbid, these Democrats, y'all, impeachment's not even the big concern. They will turn every committee of Congress into an investigative body, and they'll go after the president's family, the cabinet, his donors and friends. Half of you in this room will be targeted. I run the protection program. I'll take care of you, okay? We're going to win. We're going to win the midterm, okay? All right?
First of all, as fast as he was speaking, I want y'all to know I did not speed that clip up.
That's not 1.5.
Yeah, that ain't 1.5. That's him speaking. From the speed of his tone, Mike might already know, hey,
Michael Shyster.
Mike Shyster, bro. In that case, I'm gonna be honest with you because I really don't like Mike Johnson because he's shysty to me, but he play that Bible Christian card every chance he get. He might be just as shysty as they come. But in this clip, he obviously is feeling the pressure of what potentially could happen in these midterms and how things may progress. And when you have Trump who's attacking the message and trying to define Democrats before they define themselves, and then you have Mike Johnson basically, I mean, that's almost, he went in that room like he's fear-mongering these donors like, hey, look.
And that wasn't alike.
That was
exactly what he's doing.
100% what was happening.
Y'all are going down. But look, we're going to win. I run the protection program, which I didn't know that you ran the protection program. What are you protecting? Maybe if y'all actually did your job, there wouldn't be nothing to protect or be fearful of. I mean,
the strongest emotions when we talk about politics are anger, fear, then love.
Mm-hmm.
And our resident therapist would tell you anger is not an emotion.
He would.
I'm sorry.
He would.
Shout out to our brother.
Anger is not an emotion. So I think that's him getting ahead of the message. Like him, you're in a room full of donors. And what do you need this room full of donors to do? Give you money. And what is going to make people give you money? Realizing that there is a threat on you that you need to deal with. So I think that's the first conjecture that we got to take from his message was like, yeah, I need y'all to start turning on the faucets. I need some money to go ahead and fight this. But also what you saw here is him starting to turn the page from Trump. And that's what I picked up more than anything else in that clip. Don't worry about Trump. Oh, you saying don't worry about Trump tells me that might be a foregone conclusion for some of you. Is like Trump is not the big bad thing we're trying to protect here. It's you all. So I think there might be some concerns in the Republican side of the House that Trump don't have much longer.
Well, go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
Oh, either because he's got a meeting with the maker, or at the rate that he keeps out doing outlandish things, they might have no choice but to go ahead and sit him down in the corner.
But see, I picked up something different from that. I actually picked up him trying to play on their concerns of protecting Trump and his family, because when he made the point of if they get a hold of Congress, they're going to impeach him. And, the part of the protection program is not only protecting them, but also protecting Trump and his family, because we know, and
Which is weird energy, anyways.
It's super weird. But here we go again, giving out game. Dems, y'all have a leadership problem. You have a leadership messaging problem. But in campaigning, this clip right here, that'll be one of my campaign clips. Because
one of the many.
They're saying one of the many. Because you have the House leader saying, hey, if they get into office and win the midterms, they're going to impeach this president because they feel he's done wrong. They feel his family has been in corruption. So I need to protect y'all. What are you protecting us from if we were doing the right thing? There's no need to protect the right. You're protecting corruption. Like, and this, him saying this out loud is further cementing the messaging that has been going on since the midterms first started, or right before the midterms started. And you heard others, they didn't come out and say this flat out, but they were hinting toward this. And now you have higher ranking officials within the party stating, hey, we're worried about this thing because if we don't get it together, it won't be any more of us. And then although it's not part of this clip, you have Thomas Massey coming out saying, hey, we have the House, we have the Senate, we have the Supreme Court, and we have the White House.
We won the elections.
We got the elections. Y'all talking about elections. There's other crap we got to worry about. Like, damn, they gave you their playbook. You know the plays they're going to run. The annex of Puerto Rico is right before you. Run the annexation of Puerto Rico. This ain't Little Giants.
Bruh.
It's not hard.
It's not hard at all. And I think that when you see this talk, this goes back to even more of what we spoke about in the last part with the Democrats and the infighting. This is the wrong time for y'all to be doing this. The other team is, you got them on their heels. They're trying to figure out what they can possibly do because they feel like you have the upper hand and you in the huddle arguing. Why are we doing this?
Exactly.
Well, no, and you know why they're in the huddle arguing is because the main quarterback, Barack Obama, is out the game. He ain't coming back in.
Right.
He ain't. So you got a star wide receiver saying, "Hey, let me run with it." You got two star receivers saying, "Hey, throw me the ball." You got a tight end who's looking for no one is controlling the huddle.
Nobody. And you're trying to get the guy from high school, Mamdani, to jump to the league to quarterback and control the huddle. And that ain't how it works.
And he doesn't want to.
Teams doing his job.
He don't want
special
to.
teams doing what he was doing. He does
doing
not
what he's supposed to.
The man
does not want any concern
at
of
best.
what's going on.
He ran scout team offense.
Yep.
At best.
At best. He ran scout team.
But you know what they say? All the fans cheer for the quarterback on the bench until he gets in the game.
Yes, sir. I don't get it, man. This is where the flip up is about to come in. At Democrats, got it.
I think the other question on the Republican side is like, you have to be seeing this as well. What are your plans? Trump is done in 2028. Just because the reality of them, I think the reality of them doing any type of amendment to allow Trump to run for a third term isn't going to happen. Because why? That also, you release Trump, you release Obama for another round. Yep. And as much as Obama says he doesn't want to do it,
and he running around on this circuit right now, press circuit, looking healthy and spry.
Yep.
Yeah. I think you spoke about this before, but I mean, Democrats were in the position after Obama left and tried to keep running the same playbook, and it didn't happen. So from the GOP side, could we just be seeing the same thing happen? They don't know what to do after MAGA. Just like Democrats didn't know what to do after the hope. After the captain, the hope was gone.
Yep.
Who's the biggest question? The biggest question for the Republicans will be who follows after him. Who keeps
JD Vance.
Yeah, right.
Hey, bro, I ain't never seen the vice president out this much, bro. He out everywhere,
making his wife look even worse.
Well, he's got to be out like that when you have a president that can only go to international events, the White House, and his golf course in Florida. Like, this man is locked up on the East Coast largely because you got to be close to Walter Reed.
Walter Reed and them what they call them, adult diapers? Oh man,
Depends.
No, not the brand. They have a name for them in the hospital. Golly, I know what they. Anyway, yeah,
emergency panties.
But you got him, so you got to have JD out there. But Republicans are going to face their same crisis. I'm actually shocked that we're starting to hear more about it. But who follows him? Is it JD? Is it Marco Rubio? Do we get a nobody that again pops out of nowhere? Is it Eric Trump? Is it Ivanka? Is it Jared Kushner? We're not having those conversations yet. I think it's smart on the Republican side to not have those conversations yet, to hey, let's keep the most important thing, which is the midterms. But
I think the problem they're going to have is the chief of MAGA essentially is going to take the infrastructure with him, whether he wants to or not. Whatever's left of MAGA at this point, the way that it's going to be burnt down to the ground when he leaves. If you don't have what that is after that, if you don't have, I don't know, MAGA 2.0, whatever the new thing is going to be that's going to continue to drive and give you that power that you've had and that movement and influence that you had from MAGA, you're going to find yourself in the same position that Democrats were in when Obama left.
The strength of any organization is judged by its ability to move forward after the first leader is gone. And this is just not in politics. You see this in corporate America all the time. They talked about it with Apple after Steve Jobs passed. Will Tim Cook be able to be that leader to take it next? You hear it all the time when they talk about cults. Can it survive losing its first leader? Yeah, that is the open question around the MAGA movement at this standpoint. Will it be able to continue post-Trump? And I just find it hard that it will be able to.
So he doesn't. Yeah, definitely. I mean, without a doubt. But he doesn't even very cultish. It got a center coat to it.
It ain't no 45.
Bro, facts. But even when you look at Trump, he doesn't appear to
double
be
interested. 45, 47.
Right? Yes, sir. I peeped that. That was dope. That we need that for the merch, bro. But anyway, he doesn't even appear to be at all interested in the movement going forward after him. So it's crazy when you think about that, because as hard as they ride for it,
but Jesus,
the leader don't want it.
That's not a surprise. I mean, he don't want nobody coming behind him making anything look better than what he was doing. It's him or nothing else.
Yep.
Right. Well, at any rate, man.
Unless it's Ivanka.
Yeah, he loves Ivanka. But I don't think she
has aspirations, but he has a sickening infatuation with Ivanka.
I love my daughters, bro. I have 3 beautiful daughters.
Love mine to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
My brothers, all my brothers here have daughters, and I think I can speak and say this with very clear knowledge and awareness that none of us love our daughters in the manner in which Donald Trump loves his. I don't think you call that love. No. That may be I don't know what that is, but it might be a PDF file. It might be PDF file worthy. But one thing in all of this is increasingly clear when we look at what's happened in New York and the responses from Hakeem, when we look at the responses from Trump, when we look at responses from Mike Johnson. This wasn't just another primary election. it was a battle over the future identity of the Democratic Party. You know, progressives are seeing what they believe is momentum. Moderates are seeing warning signs, and Republicans in their fear and fashion see campaign ads. So that's why these races matter far beyond New York City, because the biggest fight isn't between the Democrats and the Republicans right now. It's the fighting that's happening inside the Democratic Party itself. And I think we got to really watch how this looks going forward, because you have somebody like, you know, the one who's been the champion of the priest of progressive, Bernie Sanders. Could he potentially see in his last heroic act, he actually see this movement really go forward, and the manner and the fashion in which he has fought so hard for it to happen? With seeing Mamdani, him and his is almost like a Star Wars with Darth Vader. Like AOC is his like predecessor. I mean, that's his right hand chick. You know, could he really be seeing, okay, this may be the moment where the Democrats end up having this power shift? But certainly this fighting happening within the Democratic Party is going to be something that's going to be tricky for them to handle, because you're heading into the midterm. You see the Republicans, which I think for the Republicans, it's a bad thing to try to pitch your hat on this. It got to be something else. Because if Democrats somehow figure out, and this is the race that I think is going to happen, who gets to define the party first? Do the Democrats figure out they're defining who they are, what that umbrella looks like, how it looks going forward, so that they have it in time enough to pitch it for midterms and after? Or do Republicans beat them to the race and cut them off at the knees before they can even truly figure out what that umbrella and what the party truly looks like, and what that messaging is, what that campaign slogan is, what is that catchphrase, and what does that umbrella look like before it's too late?
They got from now to Labor Day to figure it out. Because that's when everything's really going to kick back up. Right now to Labor Day.
But you know what's funny? And I know we're moving on. New York wouldn't even be a conversation if Mamdani wasn't the rock star that he is right now, because we know what's going to happen.
We already know what's going to happen. We already know.
That's the craziest aspect of all of this.
You already know. So we'll keep an eye and see what happens. Hakeem, man, you got to chill out. You know, if you listen to the pod, brother, I don't think you as well liked as you think you are.
He might want to well liked.
You might want to chill out,
Poppy.
Man. Hey man, get them APAC out your pockets, Poppy, and do some work. Don't tell my man to do work. You know, you go do work. You go figure it out. You get some things done. But hey man, shout out to these victories in New York. Major win, major night for them. And certainly Mamdani's first test of his political muscle to see, hey, he got a little something going. And I think that is worth noting. So we'll see how this turns out and what Democrats take from it. And going forward, if you are a part of the Democratic Party and the GOP, you need some advice, you can call the boys at the pod. We ain't going to keep giving y'all free game.
Check.
Cut the check. But certainly, we'll keep you guys tuned as we go forward, as we continue to press forward to midterm. So, with that being said, we're going to switch to our next topic, my next story going forward. And man, that leads us to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court been working, man.
It worked.
I don't know if it's good work, but they
as I say, they've been working, but they've been working my nerve.
And what a change up from last week. Like my spotlight last week about how, hey, they usually don't fall on party lines. Like they don't always fall on party lines.
Told you to keep your mouth closed.
And,
you know
told you keep your mouth
Chuck
closed.
Did tell you. Chuck did tell you.
Every single time. Every single time.
So there were three cases that we want to bring up and talk about in this segment that took place this past week, and each one is different, but together they tell us something important about where this court is headed. So we're going to start with probably the least talked about one of the three, and then work our way through the other two cases. So the first one we're going to bring up is Landor versus Louisiana. And this is centered around the religious liberty in prison. So there was a gentleman named Damon Landor who was a Rastafarian. So his religion, for those of you that don't know, requires him to keep his dreadlocks, While serving time in the Louisiana prison, guards forcibly restrained him and shaved his head, even after he showed them court documents saying that Rastafarian prisoners were protected under federal law. After his release, he sued the individual officers for money damages under the federal law known as the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act. Well, the Supreme Court came with their decision, and the court ruled 6-3 against Landor. Judge Neal wrote that Congress never clearly authorized lawsuits for money damages against individual prison officials using that act. It's abbreviated RLU-IPA. So in other words, the court didn't say what happened to Landor was okay. The court simply ruled he cannot recover money from officers personally under the act. Now, why that matters is it becomes a huge conversation about accountability. If government officials violate someone's religious right, what remedies exist? The liberal justices argue that this ruling leaves prisoners with very little practical recourse when their rights are violated. So I'm gonna ask you this, Chuck. If the court agrees someone's rights were violated, but says they can't sue the person that's responsible, is that really protecting constitutional rights or just recognizing those rights on paper?
Well, as the brother here with the luscious locks.
Hey.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you calling out my locks. I've been working.
Manny got them. They just in the back of his head. You can't see them. He got the Stevie Wonder going on.
His locks are on vacation right now. They'll return in the winter. Just like the birds flock south. I'm sorry. This ruling is very disturbing.
Yeah.
And the reason it's so disturbing is because what I take from what the ruling majority said was, yeah, you were violated, but you can't sue to be compensated for it because this person was not explicitly in contract with the federal government. So to give a little more context, what they said was that the state is the one who is within contract with the federal government because the state is receiving the funding. And because this individual who cut his hair was not the one who had the direct contract with the federal government, you can't sue them on the basis of them violating your federal rights, which is a bit asinine to me because this individual is an agent of the state when they're doing work on behalf of the state that has signed the contract with the federal government. And so in this, you essentially say, I'll use myself as an example. I could be working for the prison system and you come in and I violate an individual right of yours, but you can't sue me. Now, there may be other measures of recourse, but it's going to be a hard way and a long road to carry for going about those measures of recourse. But me as the person who violated you, there's very little recourse for me unless the prison system or the state fires me. I could lose my job, but outside of that, there's no hard course of action that an individual could take against me. And this is very concerning because it opens a window that they may not want to open. Or it opens a window that will not be beneficial to American citizens. One of those windows is, in saying this, Title IX restrictions. You're saying that individuals and let me go back a little bit. What they said was when the state has a contract with the government, it's a spending clause, and only Congress can allocate on the spending clause. So in this, the individual does not have a contract with Congress on this spending clause. So I think about a couple of different instances where there are federal protections that states may receive funding for from the federal government, that individuals can be violated, and those individuals who are the violators cannot have a financial responsibility to compensate those who they violate. One of the easiest ones that you can see this in is ADA and Rehabilitation Act. You have individuals who are working for facilities that are either state ran or contracted by the state and receiving Medicaid, Medicare to pay for these services. And you have someone in this institution who violates them under this ADA and Rehabilitation Act, Section 504 to be specific, bans disabilities discrimination. But someone violates this and there's no legal recourse or monetary compensation that an individual can seek out against this person. Now, these things are put in place to protect these individuals in the period of instances where there's been violations, there's been discrimination, and that's why these acts and laws have come into play, because there's been things that have happened that the federal government is trying to protect these people against. So you open the door for somebody to piss on that protection for lack of couth. And I said piss to blah, blah, blah. To demonstrate how low it would be for someone to violate these federal protections. Another one, Title IX. If you don't know what Title IX is, you need to, you got a problem with it yourself. But essentially prohibiting sex discrimination in federally funded education spaces. So now I could have a PE teacher, I could have a coach, I could have a teacher, I could have an admin who discriminates on a sexual basis. And again, there's that lack of recourse. There's one that I in my research and we were talking about the pod and what we were going to discuss that popped up to me that I did not realize at first, or it wasn't prominent for me. Title VI limitations. And what Title VI bars is race, color, or national origin discrimination in programs receiving federal funds. And the reason it stood out so much for me is because what are we dealing with right now in today's society?
Yep.
And so, individuals, it can be as simple as someone at the hospital discriminating against you based off race, color, or national origin. And you would think I go to the hospital, there's not going to be that bias, but we all know, unfortunately,
it's going to be some bias.
It's going to be some bias. And so this ruling was very disheartening in that regard because it opens that door. And because of it was disheartening for that reason for me, but at the same time, seeing what this court has done and this majority group has already done in many other aspects, it wasn't shocking. It's sad to say that.
I think what's concerning for me is, let's say it wasn't dreads and he wasn't Rastafarian. Let's say it was rosary beads and he was Catholic, and those were snatched away. And I think what we have seen from the court this year is that there's been expanded religious liberty for Christian faiths.
Yes.
But that has not constituted down to other religions.
Facts.
And for everyone to say, and it's a very poor notion, a very poor understanding about, sorry, a poor understanding of history and how we got here.
Mm-hmm.
America was not founded as a Christian country.
Nope.
We were founded under religious liberty.
Preach, brother.
Like,
running away from religious persecution.
Right. So I think that's concerning. I think the argument that was made that, the guards didn't know, Clarence Thomas, what happened to the whole ignoratus juris non excusat, which essentially means ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
Not an excuse.
You know,
and it's crazy that they say they didn't know when the man
was clear from my understanding.
Well, not just that, he was one who was very much aware of the law and even came with documents of the law in hand when he was transferred. So what happened when he transferred, he was close to time to being released. And he was transferred from one location to another facility. And I'm willing to bet in my bit of knowledge in the correctional facility structure, there's a step down facility that he's gone to, especially when you're coming close to release. And he was transferred to the step down facility, and him knowing as it been through the system and probably been at multiple facilities, when I go, what they allow at one place, they may give me a hard time about somewhere else. So I'm going to take this paperwork with me. And it says that he had the paperwork with the law with him and presented this to them before they handcuffed him to the chair and tore it up. It was like, we don't care nothing about that. Paraphrasing.
And I think the interesting thing, if you look at this ruling and you hear from the majority, one of the things that they said is that, hey, we are not saying that his religious rights weren't violated.
Yep.
They said it only decided that you cannot sue the officer who violated them.
Yep.
So for me, it's like, okay, so let's take a step back. Let's replace the officers that he has sued with the state corrections facility. Mm-hmm. You're saying that he would have been compensated? And then to also think about how this is far-reaching, we go into incidents of police brutality.
Yep.
So what I'm understanding from this case, under this particular application of the law, not in the case of religious freedom, but just in any other civil liberty guaranteed to us by the Constitution, that those people who violate those, if acting under the permission of another organization, are not liable. And I think when you start thinking about the precedent, the application of this becomes really, really problematic. It very much also seems, and again, I am not a legal expert, but I almost feel like this was going after the wrong law. Like there's another one called the Religious Freedom and Restoration Act that I feel like you can, and it does allow for personal damage suits to be filed. So I kind of feel like that should have probably been the angle.
But in that, for him, it was because of his, not so much restitution, but his argument was they violated the institutionalized person, the religious land use is I can't even talk. Jesus Christ, Institutionalized Persons Act, because that was the foundation of him being able to grow his hair out for as long as he had been growing it out, and how long it was. And to your point, Manny, just with your job, anybody, all of us with our jobs, there are certain clauses that you have agreed to or signed off on as an agent of that company. And there's certain things that you can do that they tell you will result in your termination because you make the company liable for your actions as operating as an agent of this entity or this institution. Yep. And it baffles me that this is their ruling when this person is clearly and innately operating as an agent of this institution. Like, there's no separation. It would be different if he was off the clock, away from the facility, and something happened. This man was in uniform on the intake process at the facility.
Checked in.
It's nasty, man. But yeah, that
I think.
And the fact, real quick, the fact that they all agree that his rights were violated.
Yep,
that's what's worse of it. Like, yeah, you were violated, but you can't sue him.
Right.
That's wild.
And I think that's the rough part about it is like, okay, so there's no punishment for, like, if the federal government is supposed to guarantee a equal protection under the law, they set the floor at minimum.
Yep.
States can go higher. States can't go below the feds. But so for this to have happened and for him to have not received any level of compensation, either it sounds like just personal. So I don't know if there's a case pending against the state of Louisiana. But
if it's not, I'm sure he's going to file one.
Yeah, I'm sure one's probably en route. But I think this is concerning not only from the standpoint of an agency being able to violate a organization, because I think the other thing that would be concerning is if he had already tried to sue the institution, the state of Louisiana is like, oh, you can't sue us. You have to sue the individual people. Well, then we've struck out on both, and then somebody's doing something unconstitutional here that we need to take a deeper look at.
Well, I think, when you look at this case, man, it's certainly alarming, especially when you hear a court tell you that the highest court in the land, you were violated, but
too bad.
Not too much you can do about that. It is not something that is, I can only imagine the emotional damage that he has suffered, because this isn't just a matter of, hey, I grew my hair out and, you cut my hair and I didn't want my hair cut. This is religious. I believe that the report said that his hair had been growing for, I believe, 20 plus years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
He's been Rastafarian or practicing in that faith. And, certainly if it was Manny brought about the rosaries, if we see anyone of Christian faith, we're not going to touch that. We're not going to let that be
the barn burner. The barn burner.
But someone else, certainly you would think that with the freedom that we have to all practice our faith in whatever capacity we do, this gentleman here, is only seeking for what's been done wrong to him to be right, or at least be made whole, because you can't undo the damage. That can't happen from the highest court in the land. Is sad. But it didn't stop there. It didn't stop there with the Supreme Court. As we said earlier, they were on a roll this week. The next case they had was Mullen versus Doe, which is centered around the temporary protection status. So the temporary protection status, or the TPS, is granted to people already living in America when their home countries become unsafe because of war or natural disasters. This case is centered around the Trump administration's decision to terminate the TPS protections of Syrians and Haitian nationals. Lower courts have blocked that decision. The administration, of course, appealed it. The Supreme Court, in their ruling, sided with the administration. The court ruled that decisions regarding the TPS fall largely within executive authority granted by Congress, meaning that the president has broad discretion to end TPS protections when federal law gives that authority. So for thousands of people who previously had legal permission to remain and work in the United States could lose those protections. Now, we have supporters saying that the president, not judges, should decide immigration policy. But those that are opposing argue that this creates instability for families who have lived here legally for years. My question to this, I'm going to go to you, Manny, is that should immigration programs like the TPS change every time there's a new administration, or should Congress be the one setting those permanent policies?
Congress. Next question. Like, Congress sets the law, the executive branch enforces it, and the courts, the judicial determines the legal ramifications from it. Like, this is basic civics 101. That I think we figure out every week is apparently not that basic. And I think it's key for this case to remember how we got here. It started with Noam and Trump yanking this from Haiti, calling it a shithole country. And I only say the full word because that's what the president said. And, you know, that's what he said.
Verbatim. That almost was a direct quote.
Yeah. And
very presidential.
And that, so not only did he do it, his basis behind it was not in American security, but it was just purely racial. And that's why this got shut down. So it's kind of ridiculous, especially when we're talking about in this case. Now, are there areas where we want the presidency? I won't say Trump. I'm going to abstract it enough and talk about the role where we want the presidency to have the ability to make these decisions. Yes, but this is also what happens when we have a Congress that's deadlocked, that can't make any type of decisions for themselves because they can't get the votes. Because everyone is so stalled in their own corners that they refuse to listen to one another or even have a conversation or do this crazy C word, compromise. I know it's crazy.
What does that mean? I've never heard of it.
So can't comprehend that word.
Yes. Should we afford the presidency some latitude? Yes. But the reasons behind that latitude should be lawful.
Yes.
And does not overstep the bounds at which Congress has granted the ability of the branch to make that decision.
Complete abuse, in my opinion. Complete abuse.
I won't say it's complete abuse, but it's very asterisk with it is him making the decision that people from Haiti should no longer be able to receive this status. That is within his power. But he is supposed to provide a reason. That reason that he provided was completely illegal.
Yes.
And that's when we got here.
Complete abuse. It's abuse.
Yes.
It's abuse.
Yes.
It's abuse because you're impacting those who have been here for years, some even decades, who have been law-abiding citizens, who have paid into the country. Yep. Who have paid into their community, who are fantastic contributing individuals in their communities, and because of your racism, and there's no other way to put it, because of your racism, you're looking to strip this protection and quite possibly deport them back to their home country, which is in political unrest. Guess what? Largely at the hands of the United States meddling.
Here's another piece on this that is so troubling. Good old Clarence Thomas.
Whom I don't even know. You can say good old.
Old Clarence.
Yeah. Old terrible Clarence.
Terrible.
He basically came out and argued that non-citizens have no equal protection rights against the federal government. And that's a problem, because what does that mean? Not only for just the people from Haiti, that for everyone that is a non-citizen, our green card holders, our visa holder, are we
won't
saying
say this about Jews?
Now, if we do not, so what we're saying is that if you are not a citizen, you have no equal protection. What does that mean for a larger amount of the population here in the United States? How do they feel? If I am here under a green card and if I've started filing for the process of becoming a citizen, do I have protections? At what point do I gain protections from the Constitution? Is it at citizenships? Is it after I file the papers? Is it after those papers are approved? With that statement, he has thrown the stance of millions of people within this country into question. He cited that, hey, the 14th Amendment was to protect freed black people and applies only to the states and not to the federal government. That's wild.
Very wild.
That's wild. So you're saying the states have to abide, but you as the states need to provide that protection? Well, the states only can provide up to a certain point, because in the Constitution, we say that anything that the states don't define, we fall back to the federal government. So now you've created even a larger hole of protections and stuff that no matter what state is not going to have on their books, because of the dependency of the 10th Amendment, that if it's not going to be covered by the feds, not going to be covered by the states, it falls back to what the federal government does. This is really dangerous. This is very problematic. And not only for the people in Haiti whose questions of status is immediately in question, but long-term for everyone else who's here.
So this is what I propose to them. Tear down the Statue of Liberty. Tear it down.
We don't want you. We don't want you're sick. You're hurting.
Give me your tired. Give me your poor. Give me your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Tear it down. What's the purpose?
Yeah.
It has no purpose at all, because that's not to speak to those who are already citizens.
Yep.
Well, if you're gonna tear it down, I think you can just give it back to France.
They don't want it. It got a stench on it. It has a nasty stench on it.
I mean, you know,
and they already have one.
They already have one.
Well, they already have one over there. That's smaller, but they already have one. And don't give me the gift back after all these years.
Yeah,
it smelled like your house.
and to think.
Hold on,
I know that every day. I know every day.
I gotta be chaos. I gotta get some chaos.
Okay.
Y'all ever had somebody borrow something from you, and when they give it back, it smell like their house, and you got a whole attitude. You smell it. You gotta wash it, or you go over somebody's house and sit there for a little while, and you come back and you smell like their house. And you get in your car, and be like, oh, I smell like that. I gotta take this off as soon as I get.
Don't
home.
Invite me to your house.
Straight to the right washroom.
Don't invite me to your house if I leave smelling like you.
Or you go to that person's house and they frying chicken in the house and you leave smelling like fried chicken.
I got an uncle that do that, man. I don't know about you, Chuck, but with having locks, bro, that'd be the most annoying thing, bro. You get that smell in your hair. Oh my God.
Let me tell you something, brother.
It's so hard to get out your locks, man.
Yo, Manny, you a fool, bro. Manny, all you gotta do is just wipe the smell off top of your head.
Get a Lysol wipe. Bro, geez. It's been times where I've decided not to go out.
Can't,
because I got a fresh retwist.
And I ain't about to wash
no, I'm not about to have to. No, sir.
You want the fry fish. Yo.
Anybody who fries fish in the house is diabolical in itself.
Hey, bro, listen.
Because that smell stays in there for a week and a half at least. I don't care what you do. You can Febreze, you can Lysol, you can Clorox. It's gonna be in that house for at least a week,
bro. I'm telling you, you gotta take that outside. You gotta take it outside,
all the way outside.
But I know. Wait. I was gonna say this before we continue. Every day, I am inclined to believe it. Matter of fact, I know that I'm probably about 98, 99% sure of what I'm about to say. I know that every morning, when Clarence Thomas gets ready for work, he thinks and looks himself in the mirror and says, what way can I possibly piss Thurgood Marshall off today? what can I do to just, what actions can I take that can just be the equivalent of just pissing on his grave that I can do today?
Brother.
Got to
be. You know, the old folks told us you never wish death on anybody. But there's a couple people I would not be sad if we get a news report they're going up a yonder. Or going I was about to say go to glory. No, I ain't sending them up yonder. They going up out of here.
They gone yonder. Now whether that's up or down is up for debate.
They gone yonder.
Hey, listen.
There's a couple people on that list that I would not seek sorrow or tear.
Sometimes, man, you know, you just.
But they say the good die young.
That's what they say, but it seemed like the bad lasts a while too.
No, that's what I'm saying. The good die young. The bad,
the bad,
the bad stick around too long.
Clarence, if the elevator of life seems to hold the door open for you,
get pushed
so
out.
that you might, so that you might can take that ride. We wouldn't be mad, brother. But yeah, man, Clarence is wild for that, man. And to Manny's point, man, you create a gap that just, I mean, what do you do if there is no backing of the federal for protection? You just screwed.
It's the constant precedence that keeps getting set over and over again. That you're like,
Supreme Court don't want to do nothing. They don't want to do nothing.
But on the flip side, they're doing a whole lot. They're doing a whole lot. There's so many things that have been precedents that have been challenged. Like, I don't know, man.
Bro, this is
crazy.
Well, if you thought that stopped, if you think that the Supreme Court stopped there, guess what they did?
Another one.
Another one. I don't know, a vacation coming up soon or something, but they like, hey, we gotta.
Well, they trying to get out for summer.
That's what it is. Client's trying to get on one of those trips paid for by one of these foreign leaders.
You know it. You know.
Which I ain't gonna. I'm just gonna say this: if my wife looked like Clarence,
I'll be on somebody else's boat too.
That's all I'm saying. I believe it at that. The next case that they had in the hat trick of what they did this past week was Mullen versus Al Otro Lado, which is asylum at the border. Now, this to me this one's crazy.
Super
For
crazy.
years, there has always been this major legal question. When someone reaches the U.S. port of entry but remains physically on the Mexican side, have they legally arrived in the United States? That answer determines whether they're entitled to apply for asylum immediately. And if you're listening, guess what? The court hit a 6-3 again. Judge Samuel wrote that someone standing on the Mexican side of the border has not legally arrived in the United States under the Immigration and Nationality Act. Therefore, they are not entitled to asylum processing until they physically enter U.S. territory. Now, supporters argue that this follows the plain language of immigration law. It gives border officials more authority. It reduces incentives to overwhelm ports of entry, and it strengthens executive power over border operations. But the critics argue here that this effectively shuts off asylum access for many vulnerable immigrants. Justice Sotomayor warned that the bench in this ruling could have life or death consequences for people that are fleeing persecution. So in this, is the court simply interpreting what Congress wrote, or are they making immigration significantly harder through this interpretation? My brother Manny, I'm gonna go to you first.
I was waiting for a one-word answer.
Right.
Well, I'm frustrated about this one because, like, I understand the majority ruling, but the ruling doesn't take the majority ruling. I feel as though does not take into account of the reality of what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, they're stopping people from getting to the base. It's literally like one of those cases, baseball players trying to tag the base, and they're throwing the ball, trying to keep them away from it. So it's like they're meaning to get here. They're trying to get here to go to and go through the process, and they're literally at the door and not being allowed in.
Yep.
So, like, I understand very much the ruling and why they said, hey, you have to be in the U.S. Then you have the construct of how it's being applied and what they're doing. And I think there's a question of the legality of what we're doing to prevent people. Like, where I'm not clear on this is whether the federal government or agents of the federal government can block somebody from getting to U.S. soil for this purpose. And I think that is the larger question once you take the entire case in context. Yes, there was a football analogy that like, hey, if you get tackled at the 1 yard line, it's not a touchdown. Yes, I think that is correct. And I understand they ruled in that. But again, it is full context of the ruling that I think is concerning. And whether I think there's probably grounds for some more legal cases about to what levels the U.S. government can block somebody from getting to the door.
This is asinine. Complete and utter asinine. I'm going to read a definition here. Asylum
from
legal
Webster
protection. Not directly. I'm not fully with Webster today. But this is from the American Immigration Council. Asylum is a legal protection granted to people who are fleeing their home countries to escape persecution or serious harm. It allows an individual to remain safely in another country rather than being sent back to the place where they live or freedom is in danger. If I'm coming to you to seek asylum and you stop me in Mexico, you can't grant me asylum. So to your point, Manny, I'm coming in to walk through the door to apply for asylum.
Because I can only apply for asylum.
I can only apply for asylum once I get into the door. I can't apply for asylum in the U.S. and Mexico. It does me no good. So why are you turning me away? And here's the crazy part: you have not provided any defined measures of how or why someone could be turned away. So in that, there's an application process to apply for asylum. And as Manny put it, you got to get to the facility to apply. Now, if you want to say we're going to limit the amount of individuals per day to come through to get to the facility to be able to apply for asylum on a per day basis, simply from the aspect of resources we have available to be able to handle individuals coming in to apply, and you're setting that groundwork, I can understand. But even then, there could be a point of contention against that. But it's more meaningful than, oh, you can't apply for asylum until you get to the U.S., but we're not going to let you get to the U.S. to even apply. Again, just tear down Lady Liberty, because we're doing everything we can, and we're an asylum country. That's what's wow, baffling about all of it. Like, if we were never an asylum country and you're just bum rushing our borders to try to apply for asylum, it's like, hey, slow down. Nobody welcomed you here. But that's not the U.S.
No, not at all.
So how are you?
Wow, bro.
Again, I understand if there was a parameter for it, but you had no sound. Like you saying the letter of it. Hold on, let me. I'm trying to write. Alito stated that a person standing on the Mexican side of the border has not legally arrived in the United States. No duh, jackass. No duh. But at the same time, for them to be able to apply, they
gotta be in it. Yep.
So if I'm fleeing, asking, at least hear me out. And then guess what? If it does not meet the framework, because there's a framework to be able to apply and be granted asylum. There is a framework.
Mm-hmm.
They don't meet the framework, then you do as you must.
Yep.
But we're not even getting to the point where we can assess that.
Exactly. And that's what's bad. What they say, Baz backwards?
Bro. I think when you look at this, with the court wrapping up another, consequential term, these probably won't be the last rulings that we're going to be talking about. And that's, if they are any worse than this.
Well, I think the thing that this episode is going to be out before it potentially is happening, but it is rumored that next week the court is going to rule on Trump versus Barbara, which is the birthright citizenship case. So if you guys are listening to this and you're like, oh, I wonder why they're not talking about this, because we haven't gotten a ruling yet. But that's supposed to happen this week.
My Lord.
So we're not done. The Supreme Court's not done yet for this term.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something right now. If they rule in favor of Trump,
man,
go ahead and put Florian Balogun off of the U.S. national team, and because that's the ultimate example of birthright citizenship.
Yep.
Nigerian parents, stuck in New York. He's born in Brooklyn. Had been to the U.S. 3-4 times before the World Cup. Tell you now.
Yep.
Hell, never mind.
Bro, if they rule in favor of Trump, it's gonna be
nasty,
insane, bro.
Hey, black people, I'm telling you now,
man.
I'm telling you now, if they rule in favor of Trump, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna ask you guys one last question before we move into our pickle of the week. When you think about these rulings and the potential rulings that are coming up shortly, do you think history will remember this Supreme Court as one that simply follows the text of the law, or one that has fundamentally shifted the balance of power towards the executive branch? I'll go, Chuck, you can go first.
This court and the building of this court since the Obama administration will be seen as one that is simply falling along party lines. I'm not going to say just the executive office, because if you look at what they did during Obama's term, holding and delaying some confirmations toward the end of his term until he was gone, and then allowing Trump to come in and fast tracking a lot of his stuff in that first administration, you take away what I truly believe. We believe that the court should be.
Yep.
The court should be a nonpartisan body that is ruling on the letter of the Constitution. Simple as that. Yes, you have different political entities, presidents who are in office who are making their rulings, and there will be some foundational, I don't want to say interferences, but guidance that you have in how you interpret things. But if you're interpreting based off the letter of the law and not based off the dinner that you had the night before with the president, then okay, cool. But at this point, we are far gone from that. And I think that's why Manny made such a big deal last week about the ruling, because that was the first time in a while where we saw a ruling that was
nonpartisan,
that was very sensible in a nonpartisan way of, regardless if you agree with it or not, you saw the nonpartisan aspect of that ruling. And then we turn around very much so the next week, and you see very partisan rulings that this court brings forth, and it's very disheartening for those who follow this, and you're not playing sides. Just do right when it boils down to it. Specifically, when what you were taught that the judicial arm of the government is supposed to be. There's no checks and balances, man.
Terrible.
I think it will go down as one as, I'm going to add a third choice, as one of the most impactful ones.
Oh yeah.
Now, negative, positive, that's yet to
still
be
an impact.
still impactful. Yeah, could sign on to everything that Chuck said, but definitely the most impactful that I think has happened.
Man, it's terrible, man. Terrible. We shall see. Certainly something to pay attention, and I believe that depending on the results of the birthright citizenship case, we will definitely be speaking about that, depending on which way that falls. So yeah, anything else on the Supreme Court, brothers?
Bah humbug.
Well, that brings us to that part of our episode where we have the pickle of the week. And you think that all those people that are affected by those 3 court cases would be the pickle, but they're not this week. So here's our pickle.
When I get us all into the biggest pickle any of us had ever seen.
All right. So our pickle of the week goes to, and I'm going to bring this pickle home. Pause. Well, no, it's still June.
It's still
so
June.
It don't matter. It's still June. So
wow.
that was egregious. If it was outside of the month. But this pickle I'm going to bring to North Carolina, and that is our public education system. Now, you guys know that public education system, especially here in North Carolina, all of us have had our experience with it. And you've seen in previous episode, we had the president of the NCAE that was here to speak about education. So this is a big thing for us that we truly have a passion and care about. But the North Carolina public education system is in a pickle this week. So
again,
not because, again, may just have to reside there, but until we get it straightened out, get some straightening, as they say. But it's not because of the teachers. It's not because of the students, but because 72 years after Brown versus Board of Education declared separate but equal as unconstitutional, North Carolina now ranks as the 7th most economically segregated public school system in America.
Hey, top 10. Oh, wait. That's not good.
That ain't a good top 10.
That's not one you want to celebrate, my brother.
Yeah, that's one you want to celebrate.
Wrong top 10.
I want our listeners to think about that. 7th most economically segregated public school system in America. Now, we've made progress on paper, but in many communities, we've simply replaced racial lines with economic ones. According to the new States of Segregation report, a poor student in North Carolina attends a school where the poverty rate is on average 30 percentage points higher than the school attended by a non-poor student. That's not a small gap. That's 2 completely different educational realities. And here's what really makes that a pickle. This isn't happening because the wealthy districts are separated from poor districts. The report says that most of North Carolina's economic segregation is happening within the same school districts. That means that students who live a few miles apart can have vastly different educational environments, resources, opportunities, and outcomes. And that is crazy. If we all are paying into the same public school education system, should the zip code or even more accurately, the family's income still determine how much about the quality of education they receive? You know, some people may argue that it isn't the government's fault. They'll say that parents choose where they live, school choice exists, charter schools are offering alternatives, and families should have options. But others are saying that this is exactly why government policy matters. Just because of the housing patterns, the school assignment boundaries, and the resource allocation all influence who ends up learning together. Regardless of where you are, where you land politically, we got to get real with this, and it's an uncomfortable reality. The report tells us that America's public schools are about as segregated today as they are or were in the 1970s. Think about that. This is 2026, y'all. And the public school systems in this country are just as segregated as they were in the 70s. Like, that's wild to me. We spent decades talking about, equality in education, yet the numbers suggest we've largely been running in the same place. We hadn't done anything. In my opinion, that's why North Carolina is in a pickle. Our state is trying to recruit businesses. We've talked about how, North Carolina is growing. They're attracting new residents. They're building this workforce of the future. But we're creating two different economic and educational experiences based largely on your status, your economic status. We're limiting literally our own talent. The pipeline of those jobs are being cut down before these kids even graduate. This is not just an educational problem. It's not that at all. It's an economic problem. It's a workforce problem. And ultimately, North Carolina is a problem. So North Carolina public school system, you're in a pickle. This isn't about one politician, one superintendent, one school board. It's just a fact. And it's sad. If we hear North Carolina talk about growing, but how are you growing when you have this problem that needs to be addressed? That the education is that vastly different for kids in the same district based off of where they fall economically. So, yeah, North Carolina public school system, man, you're in a pickle. That's all I got, brothers.
It's a nasty pickle jar, bro.
Yes, bro.
Nasty pickle jar.
These ain't Mount Olive.
No, sir.
Nope.
Not at all.
These ain't Mount Olive, brother. But that's just crazy, that report. And, when you have things like the episode we had with, talking about the teachers, and you see all these things that seem to be hampering, this report coming out this past week is just another layer on that cake of where realistically the public school system is here in North Carolina. And we got to do something about it. Somebody got to do something about it.
Somebody, please do something about it.
Everybody should have the same quality education, man. At least access to it. And it's just terrible. Whitney Houston told us that she believed the children are our future.
Teach them well.
Let them lead the way. Can't lead the way if we won't teach them.
Yeah. Which way are we going to
go? Or care about what that quality of education looks like. So we are letting Whitney Houston down. And if Whitney Houston is not someone that you feel like you got to at least do something for, watch Coming to America. You're letting Randy Watson down too.
Why? We can't let Randy down, bro.
Can't let Randy. Anyone but Randy.
We letting Randy down, man. So that's my pickle for the week. So,
nasty work.
Bro, yeah, man. To our listeners, we've reached the end of our episode. And of course, as always, at the end of the episode, we like to give you our spotlights of the week. So my brother Manny, what's your spotlight of the week?
So my spotlight's coming back to North Carolina. I guess staying in North Carolina following. But it is about North Carolina House Bill 1200, the Tax-Free Family Essentials Act. So right now, there is a NC House bill that would eliminate sales tax on baby wipes, prenatal vitamins, feminine hygiene products, diapers, and over-the-counter medicines for kids under 12. And this week, it's past its first reading that happened back in May. And this week, it is actually supposed to go to the Finance Committee. Now, I've had some talks to some people regarding this. This bill will change a little bit. They're removing over-the-counter children's medicine and prenatal vitamins. I'll get to that piece in a second. But largely, so right now, if of everything that was listed, only diapers were tax exempt if it was prescribed through the North Carolina Medicaid program and it was reimbursed by the state. But like with most plans where there's a financial limit, you make $1 over, you're no longer applicable to be able to get it. So this bill would take care of that. And you're talking about the average annual diaper spend per infant per year is almost around $1,000 to $1,200. So you think about that. That is a tax hit of somewhere between 68 to 75, even higher, depending on, and that's just basic diapers. So you're talking about giving almost close to $100 back to young families who are already being pressed by the cost of healthcare, the cost of childcare, food costs, on top of feminine hygiene products. Obviously need for every woman. So to be able to provide that necessity without adding a tax on it, these aren't luxury goods that we're talking about. These are things that are needed and are necessary. So I think this is an awesome opportunity for North Carolina to join it. I believe there's 25 other states that have released a tax on feminine products. So we would be joining that number. And again, the tampon, they call it the tampon tax. It's been a debate since the 90s. So the resistance that a lot of states have the resistance that a lot of states have had against this has been the hit to revenue. And in the state of North Carolina, several representatives here, Mike Sheetzel, Representative Ryan, Representative Campbell, and Representative Chesser, have all said, hey, the revenue gained from this, while important to North Carolina, isn't more important than taking care of people's needs. You know, these are not luxury goods. This is not buying high-end things for no reason. We all need this. So it's getting ready to head to committee, and we'll see what happens in committee. Now, the one thing I wanted to circle back on, the over-the-counter kids medicine and the prenatal vitamins. So in prep for this, there is a there is a pact called the Streamlined Sales and Use Tax Agreement. It is a multi-state compact that basically standardizes sales tax definitions so businesses that operate in different states have consistent rules they can measure it. So that way, hey, product X is not in this category in this state, in this category in another state. So it standardizes this. Part of the reasons why over-the-counter medicines and prenatal were taken off is because those are two of the categories that are impacted by this. Now, over-the-counter drug exemptions is something that other states have done, but it would take some additional action. So what I've been told is that, you know, this is something they'll look at within a study bill, but they're not quitting on over-the-counter medicine or prenatal vitamins, that they do plan on filing additional bills to try to figure out what they can do to take care of these needs. But I think this is something really important that we're taking a step forward in. I think a lot of times when we talk about North Carolina, unfortunately, on this podcast, we're talking about things that we're doing wrong. Here is an example of North Carolina really doing something that is important to our citizens and really a step forward. So congratulations to us for doing that, and thank you to the representatives who are pushing this forward. So like I said, finance is the next step for this bill. And we'll see what happens in finance, and then it'll go to rules and then to the floor for a vote. We'll see if this gets taken care of, though, in this session before everyone breaks for summer and breaks to go run campaigns. But that is my spotlight of the week.
All right, brother.
You know, brother, being the contrarian that I am, although I see the progress in them trying to make this tax-free, I truly believe many of these items, if not all, should be at no cost to these individuals. Like you said, feminine hygiene products are a necessity. Diapers are a necessity. Now, prenatal vitamins, I have my own argument against that because, anyway, it's just yes, it's progress in not taxing them, but we can spend millions upon millions of dollars on political ads during campaign cycles, and these different groups and PACs and factions can kick out millions and millions of dollars, but then want to run and say, oh, the revenue and funding for, you know, these necessities, again, not luxuries, not fun items, but certain necessities. Yeah, and you know what? I had a young lady learn me on this because in my adolescent years, yeah, she learned me because in my adolescent years, I was a treacherous and terrible individual to my sister. And when she had her menstrual period, I used to pick with her and give her a hard time about it. This is, I'm 10, 11, 12. Spake as a child. When I was a child, I spake as a child.
You read about
when I became a man, I put away childish things. But she put it to me in the notion of, how would you respond if we did not have these feminine hygiene products and we walked around without them? That time period is natural. There's nothing outside of surgery. There's nothing they can do about it. But they are forced to pay for things to allow them to function. Not even go outside and play, not even leisure hang out, to function on a day-to-day in life. And when she put it to me that way, because the argument was of them having to pay for it, and I was like, well, I mean, why not? And then she broke it down like that. And that's why I say she learned me, and I was like, you know what? That is a very strong argument of, why do we have to pay for these things? And then you turn around and you have these different instances where there are reports that some of the material in some of these products have caused ovarian cancer to some women. And it further cements that argument of, what are we doing? So
be careful. No, somebody might listen to this might say that you sound progressive.
Well, I think then that becomes the argument of how much of our elections should be privately versus publicly funded.
Oh, you already know how,
and that's a whole nother podcast. So, but yeah, I hear you.
But dope spotlight though. Dope spotlight.
Yeah, Brother Chuck, what you got?
All right, I'm not gonna be as intense as my brothers, although they have some fantastic spotlights. Particularly as you hear, areas that I've had an interest in and have a strong opinion about. We already know where we went with education, and then the diatribe I just had. My spotlight is on the World Cup though.
Hey.
But it's been a fantastic time. I think I mentioned before how much fun I've had and everything that's going on. But my spotlight is going to shine bright on our African nations that are participating in the World Cup. And as we have moved out of the group stage at the time of this recording, there are 9 countries out of the 10 African nations that qualify for the World Cup. And those 9 that qualify, well, I'll give y'all 10. Tunisia, Morocco, Ivory Coast, DR Congo, Senegal, Algeria, Egypt, Cape Verde, Ghana, and South Africa were the 10. The only ones who did not qualify for the knockout round was Tunisia. And I just want to say it's been amazing because most of these teams were an afterthought to make it to the knockout stages. Morocco was thought to be a shoe-in because they are the number 7 ranked team in FIFA, and they were in the semifinals of the last World Cup. Senegal was given a shot to make it to the knockout stages as there, if you were not aware, a legal controversy between Senegal and Morocco for the AFCON championship, where Senegal won on the field, Morocco won after the fact, and then there's a court case. But everybody else really wasn't given a whole lot of chance to make it past the group stage. And at a 90% clip, it's freaking awesome. And then I like to drill a little further, as me living in Atlanta and Atlanta being a host city and we being lit and having the most amazing atmosphere during this World Cup. And the numbers speak behind it. We had the largest participation of fan fest participants as of days ago, which is numbers probably higher now. We were at 250,000 people who had visited the Atlanta Fan Fest, far exceeding any other fan fest of any other host city. But in that, we've had 4 African nations that have played in Atlanta. And if you know anything about Atlanta, here in America, we call Atlanta the Black Mecca. And there's many reasons for that. If you don't know, go look it up. I'm not about to hear and give it to you. But those 4 teams that have played here, those 4 African nations that play here, DR Congo, Cape Verde, Morocco, and South Africa. Well, they fared very well while they were here. The first one that happened that was a big surprise, and I'm sorry, Jeezy, for this, but Cape Verde pulled off a huge upset. And the reason why it was a huge upset is because they drew 0-0 with Spain. And Spain is the European champions. And not only to draw them, but to draw them at a scoreless draw and gain a point when many people thought it would be a shooting contest for Spain and just practice. That was a huge win for Cape Verde, and they allowed them to get their first point in the history of the World Cup for them. But you also had South Africa play Czechia here in Atlanta afterwards, and they secured a 1-1 draw, which was a crucial point because, again, like I said, that team was thought to be at worst or at best a third-place team in the group, but not really having the option to move on to the knockout stages. So that was a crucial point for them. Then you have Morocco and Haiti. And as I said, Morocco was already looked to have been one of the few African nations to move forward. And, they had a 4-2 win here. And then on the 27th, the DR Congo, fighting for their life, put a rousing and amazing performance up against Uzbekistan in a 3-1 victory to seal their fate and moving on to the knockout stage and giving them their first ever World Cup win. And the last time that they were in the World Cup, I want to say it was 50-something years ago when they were under colonial rule as Zaire. So in that, I myself has deemed the Mecca of America for these African nations connecting with the Black Mecca of America and the diaspora of our ancestry as Black Americans. I don't say African American because we're not all belonging to one whole continent. You don't call Irish Americans European Americans. So I'm not going to say African American, but as a Black American, just a connection to Africa in these countries of Africa and the diaspora. It's very exciting to me to see these countries come to Atlanta and perform very well and exceed expectations. And the World Cup is just rocking right now. At the time of this recording, South Africa is battling Canada to move on to the round of 16, further cementing, like I said, they were seen as an afterthought, and many pundits actually argued that the tournament had expanded too far and diluted the quality of play. For those who don't know, this was the first tournament to have 48 teams in the tournament. So going to the round of 32, generally after group play, we went to a round of 16.
Yep.
And so getting to the round of 32, the top 2 teams advanced, and then there was 8 of the third place teams, of the best finishing third place teams, got to advance. I truly believe they're going to move to a round of 64 total entrants in the tournament. So that way the top 2 teams in each group can move on to field your round of 32, which will make it a lot easier. But this tournament has been very, very amazing. So that's my spotlight, man.
Yeah, definitely have enjoyed the World Cup, and shout out to those teams because they certainly came in as an afterthought, as my brother said, and they are putting on. They're putting on for their people. I love it. All right, well, to round it out, I will give my spotlight to conclude, and my spotlight of the week is going to go to Texas. The Texas State Board of Education has approved a new statewide reading list that will require Bible passages to be taught in public schools beginning in 2030. Now, supporters say it's about recognizing the Bible's role in American history and literature. But critics argue is the government is crossing the line into religion. Now, some people may expect me as a Christian, and if you don't know I'm a Christian, I am.
And you haven't been listening to the pod very closely.
Clearly you don't listen to the pod because this is quite my Lord Savior is very central in my life. So you would think that I would stand and cheer this on, but actually I'm not. And I'm gonna explain why I'm not too fond of this. I believe the Word of God is the greatest truth ever given to mankind. Yep. I believe it changes lives, and I believe every person should hear the gospel. But I do not believe the government should force it on people, period. The gospel has always been spread through conviction, not coercion. Jesus invited people to follow him. He did not have the Roman government mandate scripture reading. That didn't happen. Faith is not faith if it's forced. It's just compliance. And I don't understand why people think that this is okay. We are, Christianity is becoming a political weapon instead of transforming lives. So we're missing the whole entire point of the gospel. The First Amendment, if you don't know, protects the free exercise of religion, but it also prevents the government from establishing one religion over everyone else, which is very weird because it seems like that's what we're trying to push towards, making Christianity the one dominant religion in America. And as a Christian, I just can't get by with that. You know, if Texas is starting to mandate Bible, passages, what's next? What if another state decides to implement a different religion and make that happen, and it goes against the ideology and of the fundamental aspect of the gospel? What do we do then? Is that okay? I just don't think that this is right. I really don't. And I think that as Christians, our mission was never to win people by legislation. That's not how you do it. What we're supposed to be doing, which it seems like we're getting further and further away from, is learning to love our neighbor, to just preach the gospel to those that want to hear it, to live lives that make people want to know Christ. It's not about the government. We don't need the government to help us spread the gospel. That's our job as Christians, to live in the way that Christ lived. Exemplify Christ-like attributes to those that we meet. Love our neighbors. Those are the things we're supposed to be doing, not forcing it to be read in classrooms. So I don't support forcing scripture in public schools. And it's not because I don't love the Bible. I do. God knows I do. But I love it too much to want it to be reduced to another government requirement. That's not how the word of God is. So Texas, I get it. You call yourself Christians and you want this passed in your public schools. But just think for just 1 second, is this truly what the gospel stands for? Christ never, in all that we read, never forced the word on a single soul. The Ethiopian eunuch that was reading the word didn't understand what he was reading. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Paul was traveling and saw him and asked him, did he understand? He said, no, I need somebody to point it out to me. He kindly sat with that man, explained the gospel, and later baptized that man. That Ethiopian eunuch wasn't forced into the word. The conviction of the word grabbed him. The Lord sent us someone that could help him, and he met Christ that day. That's how the gospel operates. Not by legislation, not by force. So I don't agree with this. And if you agree with this as a listener, I would love to talk to you and understand how you as a Christian think that this is the right thing to do when we never, and Christ never forced his word on us. So that's my spotlight, man.
The great battle between being a red letter Christian versus a red hat Christian.
Ooh, brother.
And my issue with it is the sound doctrine and the studying of the word to be able to read and convey and provide that sound doctrine to students.
Bro, like we talked about on this podcast before, just like Ted Cruz. The reason I support Israel because the Bible tells us whoever blesses Israel will be blessed and whoever curses Israel will be cursed. You need to go back.
Context is important.
That ain't Benjamin Netanyahu's Israel.
Mm-hmm. You need to go reread, brother. You need you reading, but you don't understand.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
Study to show thyself approved.
Yes, sir. So I have a problem with this because this ain't the way you do it. If anything, you're going to push people further away from the word. That's why you don't force it. You let the heart open and receive it. And this ain't receiving it, bro. So
be a disciple. Be a disciple.
Woo, brother.
Simple as that.
More worried about trying to force it down. If you just live it, you wouldn't have to force it. But that's all. I ain't gonna pull out the I ain't gonna pull out the collection plate this Sunday. But Texas, this ain't right. And for other states, I hope that you don't follow suit. Because you can open a door to something that can have some real serious implications and can hurt the word. Well, you can't hurt the word. The word is living and breathing. You can't do nothing to it. But you certainly can make the experience of those seeking Christ a lot worse and a lot harder than what it has to be. Yeah. So yeah, that's my spotlight of the week, man. So to our listeners, we've reached the conclusion of this episode. And if you stayed and lend us your ear for the duration of the episode, we appreciate it. We thank you for tuning in. As always, like, share, follow, subscribe, all of that. Reach one, teach one, bring a friend. There's wings and there's drink in the back. Make yourself at home. Get comfortable. Pull up a chair. We got folded chairs, and they're the good ones. You ain't got to worry about sitting
with the padding on it.
Yeah, we got the padding, and it'll fit. It'll suit you just fine. Some of them chairs you got to ease down in a little bit.
Ease down. So don't know.
Not here. You can be comfortable.
I think it collapse with you.
So we thank you for tuning in. And if this is your first time, welcome. Hope you come back and join us for the next episode. And as we always say here at the pod, if don't nobody love you, just know the boys here at the pod. I promise you, we love you. We love you. Brother, all heart and minds clear?
Yeah.
All here.
All right. Enjoy the World Cup. And again, as I said at the beginning of the episode, happy Pride Month. President Trump. Enjoy for your pride. We love you. Take care, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.